There is a point in every person's life where keeping them close begins to feel heavier than letting them go. We work so hard to hold on to people, relationships, and moments, even when we know deep within ourselves that they no longer fit into our narrative. We tell ourselves that perhaps something will change, that perhaps they'll return, that perhaps one day it will all be clear. But the reality is, clinging to what's supposed to go only prolongs our healing. Letting go isn't weak. It's a statement of strength. It's declaring, I prefer peace to pain. I prefer progress to ease. I prefer myself. For a very long time, I thought that love was about hanging on no matter what. I thought loyalty was about staying even when it hurt. But life will teach you that the bravest thing you can ever do is walk away. People enter your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and not everyone is going to be around forever. Some people are there to teach you lessons, others to introduce you to what love should never feel like. And when their time in your life comes to an end, you need to be strong enough to close that book without resentment, without regret. For when you keep reading a story that's already finished, you lose the chance to start writing a new one. Letting go is not always about others at times. It is about letting go of the you who you used to be in order to please others. It's about forgiving yourself for lingering too long, for giving too much, for receiving too little. It's about knowing that your value was never based upon someone else's capacity to appreciate you. The minute you cease from pleading for closure and begin to make your own peace, you take back your power. You stop being defined by what left and start being guided by what remains, your strength, your resilience, your faith. We often fear letting go because we're afraid of being alone, of facing the silence that follows. But silence isn't your enemy. It's your sanctuary. It's in that silent place where you hear yourself speak for the first time again, where you recall who you are beyond the din of other people's voices. Releasing allows you to breathe once more. It releases you to find yourself again, your passions, your calling, your peace. And that's where healing begins to happen. It's okay to miss someone who hurt you. It's all right to miss them and still hope for their happiness. But don't mix missing someone with needing them. You can love people far away. You can be thankful for what they had to teach you, and still get on with life. The strongest thing you will ever realize is that you can survive, and even thrive, without what you believed you couldn't do without. That's not loss, that's freedom. In 2025, I want you to vow to yourself this: you will no longer pursue what's moving away. You will no longer minimize yourself to fit into rooms that do not appreciate you. You will no longer plead for love that takes your peace. Releasing doesn't mean that you cease to care. It means that you care more about yourself. You begin prioritizing your happiness, your healing, your mental health. You cease seeking closure from other people and discover it in yourself. Because peace does not arrive when everything else shifts around you. It arrives when you choose to release what ails you. So, if there's something or someone pulling you back, be brave enough to release them with kindness. Don't struggle for those who won't struggle for you. Don't nurture relationships that won't grow. Let go of the burden of what's already gone. Because when you finally let go, you'll know that what seemed like the end was actually the start. The start of your liberty, your self-realization, and your peace. And that's when you'll realize that letting go was never about losing them. It was always about finding yourself. Holding on is only natural, but healing starts the moment we learn to love ourselves enough to let go. Pain, disappointment, and even betrayal can leave scars, but they do not determine your worth or your destiny. Muniba is reminding us that when we turn our attention to cultivating our own hearts and minds, we make room for authentic growth. Self-love is not selfish, it is necessary. It is the foundation upon which we build our whole heart back to confidence, our dreams, and happiness. Too many of us link our worth to the acceptance of others, having forgotten the most powerful validation comes from within. When you work on yourself, you are deciding to celebrate your own path instead of getting stuck in someone else's shadow. Each moment you spend healing, doing what you love, and taking care of yourself makes the person you are becoming that much stronger. It's about shifting the time you spend worrying, resenting, or trying to control into energy that empowers you. Self-love turns pain into purpose and shows you that stepping forward is not forgetting the past. It's not allowing it to keep you back. Healing from self-love also involves forgiveness, forgiving others, admittedly, but most significantly forgiving yourself. It involves embracing your defects, your errors, and the decisions you previously believed were wrong, and realizing that each brought you to this exact moment. It's about embracing the reality that you are enough, just as you are, without anyone else's approval or reconciliation. In that acceptance, there is freedoms. The freedom to live who you truly are, the freedom to chase your dreams, and the freedom to be surrounded by positivity, not toxicity. When you begin to look inward, you discover that the most significant relationship you'll ever have is with your own heart. You start knowing your needs, your boundaries, and your wants. You quit looking for happiness from the outside in because you learn that genuine happiness is self-generated. Muniba illustrates that by taking care of ourselves, not only do we heal, but we also inspire others around us, because we become living evidence that releasing and caring for oneself creates resilience, strength, and a life full of purpose. In 2025, recall that self-love is the door to freedom. By being centered on yourself and letting healing occur, you cultivate a life ruled by choice rather than circumstance. You exchange fear for faith, doubt for confidence, and pain for empowerment. And the more you become yourself, the less the opinions or actions of others are able to disturb your peace. Healing starts the moment you choose that your happiness is most important and that your life should be lived fully, freely, and unapologetically. There's a reason Muniba so often speaks about vision and purpose. Because paying attention to yourself is not only about self-care, it's about getting a glimpse of the grander picture of your life. When you release distractions, drama, and energy vampires, you have room to re-engage with your goals and dreams. Being all about you means becoming deliberate with your time, your energy, and your focus. It's about asking, what do I want my life to look like, rather than spending your days worrying about what everyone else needs from you. Far too often, we find ourselves stuck attempting to live up to everyone else's expectations or pursuing approval that will never be granted. We remember that our path is our own and that the thoughts of others must never control our decisions. Muniba teaches us that clarity results when you cease looking outside yourself for approval and begin looking inside yourself for direction. When you turn the attention inward, you know what really counts, what is valuable to you, and what will bring you to your next level. That clarity enables you to make choices based on strength instead of fear, and it enables your life to go in a direction that's real and meaningful. Focusing on yourself also includes putting your growth ahead of comfort. It involves being able to take risks, challenges, and sometimes stand alone, and understanding that loneliness is a friend to knowing oneself. When you spend on developing yourself, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, you are made stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You gain the strength to walk through life confidently because you no longer look to others to tell you your worth. Your concentration is your superpower, and it will keep you above negativity, distractions, and drama. In 2025, this focus will be even more essential. The world will attempt to pull you in a million different directions, but the more anchored you are to your own mission, the less susceptible you'll be to chaos. You'll become adept at putting first what builds your future instead of giving into fleeting wants. Muniba points out that it is not selfish to keep your focus on yourself, it's strategic. It's the premise of a life where you can develop, flourish, and have valuable impact without losing yourself in the process. So release the need to please, to control, or to pursue those who don't share your path. Channel that energy inside. Invest in your abilities, your mindset, your body, and your aspirations. Because when you turn the spotlight back on yourself, you don't just recover, you transform. And in that transformation, you become unstoppable, unbreakable, and ready to build the life you were destined to have, without the burden of that which no longer supports you. Peace is delicate, and Muniba keeps reminding us that it is one of the greatest acts of self-love we can take to protect it. When we cling to abusive relationships, resentment, or the views of people who don't respect us, we give room for outer turmoil to interfere with our inner peace. Keeping things about you involves understanding that your energy is a valuable commodity and that not everyone has the right to it. Drawing boundaries is not selfishness, it's a sign of self-respect. It's saying, I no longer let negativity control my mood, my choices, or my life. We exist in a world that depletes us continuously, replete with noise, judgment, and expectation. Muniba points out that without guilt, it's necessary to learn to say no. Holding on to your peace doesn't mean avoiding people. It means being selective in where you spend your time, your focus, and your heart. It's about surrounding yourself with those who uplift, encourage, and inspire you, rather than those who bring stress, doubt, or negativity. Every moment spent on people or situations that steal your peace is a moment taken from your growth, your happiness, and your well-being. Energy is contagious, and so is attitude. As you center yourself, you start to become aware of how much your surroundings affect your thoughts and feelings. You start making intentional decisions to shield yourself from energy that is not in your highest good. This may involve backing away from drama, ending friendships that no longer support you, or simply learning to put your own emotional well-being before seeking the approval of others. It ain't easy, but it's required. Your peace is the fertile ground in which your dreams are nourished, and guarding it guarantees your growth isn't interrupted by outside turmoil. Muniba also reminds us guarding your peace is empowering. It helps you practice self-discipline, builds your emotional strength, and enables you to move through life with clarity and confidence. When you no longer give others' negativity the power to dictate your mindset, you take back control. You are the writer of your own narrative, choosing what you will accept and what you will release. This intention and safeguard build a life where your energy is intentionally spent, your aspirations are given priority, and your joy is cultivated. In 2025, it shall be your responsibility to guard your peace at all costs. Develop an ability to recognize what sucks the energy out of you and be brave enough to walk away. Set boundaries that respect your well-being. Be around individuals and places that empower you and not suck the life out of you. Remember, guarding your peace means guarding your potential. You give yourself the clarity, strength, and concentration to become the person you were born to be. Confident, strong, and unencumbered by what no longer supports you. Undefined progression is the greatest payoff of self-reflection and release. Muniba frequently insists that moving on is not an indication of weakness. It's an expression of wisdom and bravery. Life is far too short to stay bound to what no longer benefits you. The people, the habits, the situations. When you release, you make room for growth, for possibility, and for the best version of you that waits to be seen. Each step you make from what stands in your way is a step toward freedom, toward clarity, and toward your dreams. When we do focus on ourselves, we become confident enough to trust our own judgment and pursue our own course. We cease to seek the approval of others and begin living for our own values and objectives. Muniba has reminded us that releasing doesn't imply erasing or forgetting. It means consciously prioritizing your own happiness over trying to control results or hang on to what's past. It's about understanding that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable, and they should be spent on what's most important: your growth, your happiness, and your purpose. Having confidence is also a requirement to move forward with purpose. It's about trusting that your life is meaningful regardless of anyone else's say-so. It's making the decision to leave relationships or situations that suck the life out of you. Trusting your peace and growth are worth more than short-term comfort. While Muniba promotes embracing this confidence because it gives you the power to make decisions based on your goals and values. By keeping the focus on yourself, you become more aware of what you want and braver to go for it without fear. In 2025, this forward movement becomes revolutionary. Each decision to release, each second spent taking care of yourself, and each step toward your dreams multiplies over time. You come to realize that your life isn't about who remained or who departed, but about how you respond, how you evolve, and how you create your own narrative. Moving on is not about forgetting. It is about rising wiser and stronger, prepared to live the life you are capable of living. Muniba reminds us that releasing and living for yourself is not the end of your path. It's the start of a life with purpose, clarity, and empowerment. Moving forward with intention, you take back the control of your story. You build bridges to possibilities that were once closed off by fear, doubt, or distraction. And most importantly, you step into the person you were always meant to be: resilient, self-assured, and unstoppable. Your past may have shaped you, but your focus on yourself will define your future.